Monday Reds. I have been divorced once already, now about to enter into my second. The woman I am married to now is the first person I met after my previous divorce. Both have lasted only 2 years. I'm 36. When I first met my second wife, things couldn't have been better. I thought I had met my soulmate. She was everything I have ever imagined. We lived together for 2 years prior to getting engaged. These 2 years were perfect. We got engaged and things started to get a little strange. I had a feeling that she may have been cheating on me. I am insecure in nature. I did find some emails back and forth to an old boyfriend that seems harmless enough, so I never addressed it. We got married a year later, and that's when the problem started. Almost 6 months into the marriage, she started complaining that I needed to change how I acted. That I wasn't nice when I asked for examples. She couldn't give me any. We wouldn't argue about it much, but I did hear it often. Now, I had asked her if I had changed from when we first met, and she said no. Anyway, moving forward, things got progressively worse. She used to be the most affectionate person who would latch onto me like a leech. After about a year of marriage, this dissipated to barely touching me at all. I had to initiate all contact. She used to want to cook all the time. That stopped. Cleaning stopped. We have a dog together. She stopped caring for him. She traveled for work previously, however the trips seemed to pick up at the beginning of this year. The text message went unanswered for hours, same as phone calls. One night she had got home from a business trip and went to bed as she was exhausted from traveling. I wasn't tired and decided to watch some TV in the other room. Her phone went off with a text from a guy she works with asking how was the rest of your night. Now, the text itself seemed harmless enough, but the fact that there was no history behind the message started putting up red flags. I did some digging and noticed multiple calls and text message while she was away to this guy, also while I was asleep. Instead of confronting her about this, I decided to start trying to see if she wanted out. First mistake. This was in February. We started talking and she said I wasn't the person she thought and wanted out. I asked her to tell me when was needed. How can I fix this? I was in scramble mode to try and make this marriage work. She said she needed time to figure things out, so I moved out. I was out for a week, and during this time I was watching to see if she would contact him, which she did. That night we were separated, she was with him. I tried to convenience myself that maybe she was breaking it off, or maybe he really was just a friend. After the week, she asked me to come home and she wanted to work on it. We started marriage counseling. During the counseling, she had described how I needed to change, that I didn't like to do the same things she did. She did feel financially secure because we lived a very fly-by-the-moment life. 5-6 trips per year, shopping sprees. Mind you, these were the exact things she loved about me just a year ago. So, I started to change. I made drastic changes. So drastic to the point our therapist wanted to write a book about it. I did everything I could to be the man she wanted me to be now, even though it was against my will. Things were good for a few months. We had moved out of our place for a few months to live near the beach for the summer and had a great few months. The second we came back to our home, things got worse. We live in the city and she works a few blocks away with him. My suspicion started up again that she had reconnected with him. Before you knew it, we stopped going to therapy. She refused to go as she thought the therapist was on my side. Things went back to the way they were at the beginning of the year. I comforted her about it 2 months ago and said I wasn't happy. She said she didn't want to work on it because we are too different and she didn't think therapy would work. I explained that this was a marriage and we need to give it every chance. Let's go to another therapist. She said okay and would research it. That never happened. Traveling started again. We went on some trips together. I had a business trip she met me on and we had our anniversary, so we went away for that. Things were okay, not great. She had gone on a trip for work about a month ago. When she came back, all touching stopped. I mean all touching. She would wait till I went to bed, then she went to sleep. All the signs, I couldn't ignore it anymore. I comforted her again, saying I wasn't happy but still wanted to work on it. She said now she wanted a divorce. It can't be worked on. I then did confront her about the text, phone calls, and she just smirked. I said okay and told her to leave. She has moved out. She is supposed to be sending me the paperwork, however I haven't received it yet. I have not spoken with her since she left. That brings us to the present. I am angry on so many levels. Even typing this makes me angrier. I am also sad that I have another failed marriage. I am waiting for her to send paperwork, which seems dumb. Should I just send her? We don't have kids or own property, so it's not going to be messy. I think I don't want to send it because I don't want it to be over, although I know it needs to end. I keep going back to the person I met and how I would give anything and do anything to be with that person. I also realize that person is never coming back. Update from today. No contact still since Friday. I'm sure it's easy for her as she has to fall back on. Honestly, it's been easy for me as well. I haven't even had an urge to call or text. Reconnected with an old friend who's been really helpful during this time. We care for each other but realize now isn't the right time to act. Few things I have been thinking that have pushed me to be angrier. Found out she saw a lawyer in September. She then proceeded to go on 3 trips with me, spend thousands of dollars on new clothes, and would have sat back and took Christmas gifts. Who does that? Something that's irked me, that's all. First contact has been made by her. She had some logistical questions regarding bills and picking up some packages that were here. Do I answer this email? If so, how do I respond? Do I simply write back, ask where are the divorce papers? She took everything that was hers. She had some packages delivered which I gave to a mutual friend who was going to see her family this weekend. I'll wait to hear from some others. I'm leaning towards no response. Pia was definitely there. The cutoff from contact to me makes me believe the Pia was there as well, but I can't confirm it. Although in 99% sure it was. Not that it matters, to be honest. I responded today to the email yesterday with short non-feeling responses. Feeling angry and scared and sad. Had conflicting feedback about answering, so I went with the shortcut responses. Items did need to be addressed. Yesterday was rough, but I got through it with the help of friends. Dreamed about her last night, woke up angry that she's still affecting me. Day by day. Update from today. Rough morning, can't stop thinking about it. Have a pit in my stomach. I have not contacted her, however, and will not. I just want the pain to end. Still no paperwork from her. My co-worker saw her this weekend and dropped off some packages. There isn't any bad-mouthing going on, which is good. I am not sure why I am in so much pain. I haven't been happy in months. She isn't the same person I first met. It's good to be back at work. The weekends are going to be really rough. No contact still from either side. Went to talk to my pastor yesterday and she was at the church. Did not speak with her. I feel a little better today, but the holidays are a real downer. We'll keep pushing though, however. Just want to get through the holidays. Then pedal to the metal with the paperwork. Feeling sad and angry still. Starting to think about the past and wondering what I'm really missing. Still dark. We may never speak again. I am wondering why I even care. Some more thoughts. I always felt she had one foot out the door. Always been walking on eggshells. We really have nothing in common. I tried to be a chameleon. She never did. Bonding hasn't been good for a few years. Seems that hour by hour, day by day, I am getting more and more numb towards this. She has already moved out. We have different cell bills and I have no access to the vehicle. I honestly don't need this, has the gut feeling in my stomach along with the circumstantial evidence prior. Saw over 200 texts on the bill. Over hour-long phone calls while I was asleep or she was away, lying about whose number it was, lying about where she was the night of our first separation, is enough for me. I feel the abandonment, and although I don't have concrete proof, I do know for sure that she 100% will bail when things get tough. That along with above is quickly becoming enough for me to never allow her back into my life again. I want a fighter, not a quitter. Today's update. Every day that passes it gets a little better. I still think about her, the old her, but I am quickly reminded of the new her, the real her, and the things that I really don't want back. If she called me today, would I take her back? Maybe, but not without some serious changes. Work, admissions. I do sense that the maybe is going to turn into a no soon enough. I have not received any paperwork from STBX, nor do I accept to see any, even though apparently that's all she wants. Do I, A, file with what I expect to happen and have her served? B, contact her and attempt to hammer out this detail, then just have a lawyer draw up the paperwork? Just received an email. Do I respond? They charged us cancellation fees for your phone and air card when you switched your carrier. I paid the overdue balance last month so they wouldn't shut off my phone, but I can't afford to pay this and it's due by January 7th. What do you want to do? I'm thinking no response. Time to start handling her own business. I can tell you what I don't want to do. 1. Get divorced. 2. Be cheated on. 3. Have to pay X a month for a dog walker because my soon-to-be ex-wife for some reason allowed me to sign a lease on an apartment she had no intentions on living in. 4. Pay for your dress, makeup, flights, hotel just so you can ruin my sister's wedding. 5. Pay X for an apartment, half of the responsibility, which is yours, all by me. You fired me, you figure it out. Maybe ask OM for help. Where's the divorce paperwork? What's the delay? Today's update. Feeling good, confident. Starting to detach. I will not go back and forth through email for nonsense. Full steam ahead. Ordered a bunch of self-help books, looking forward to them coming and me starting to work on me. I have been speaking to my pastor. I was an MC but haven't seen someone since. I can't afford it right now. Yesterday was good, not great. STBX still had a key to the apartment and emailed me a few weeks ago about it. I had asked her to mail them to me and of course she didn't listen. Decided to drop them off to our front desk in the building. Just another sign of disrespect. I want to blast her for it. Instead, I will continue to stay dark. Today's update. With New Year looming, I feel like this couldn't come at a better time. It's kind of forcing closer into the past and hopes for a happier future. Had an interesting dream last night. Both of my exes were morphed into one person for some reason and I was in the apartment breaking everything that reminded me of STBX. I woke up sad for some reason. Seems like the wrong emotion to that type of dream. Anyway, excited to start IC on Thursday. I do have a date tonight which I am cautiously optimistic about. No expectations, just want to enjoy the company of a happy person. It's been over a year since I've been around someone who genuinely wants to be around me and isn't just around me due to obligation. Starting to see the light. It's very dim and far but I do see it flickering. Still NC from STBX nor myself to her. Going to my lawyer next week to start the paperwork. I am very annoyed that I had to initiate this as she was the one who was waiting for this to happen. Can't wait for IC to tomorrow. Spoke to my lawyer today and he advised STBX reached out for previous tax returns last week. We always filed separately. He told me to hold off for a week or so. Am I fitting to go to war here? She hired her own lawyer. I seem to be waking up every morning sad and angry. Then as the day goes on, I'm fine. I think it has to do with waking up in the apartment that we shared. I am trying to get out of this lease, however it is going to be very difficult. Triggers are everywhere. How do you guys, gals, manage to deal with them? So far so good. At first I see last night and it seemed to go well. He feels he can certainly help me, which I am excited about. I'm about halfway through Codependent No More and it's an eye-opener to say the least. I hope I can apply some of the principles to myself going forward. So, I heard some interesting news today. Apparently my lovely STBX is bashing me and blaming the entire thing on me, saying I kicked her out and claiming no responsibility whatsoever. Now normally this wouldn't matter, but unfortunately this may affect my job. No word from Team Delusional. Making an appointment to see lawyer on Thursday to get this going. The women I have been speaking about was getting a little too clingy and I had to push her back, which wasn't pretty. Unfortunately, I can't worry about other people right now. Time for me to be selfish. I haven't been selfish in quite some time. Feels good. Just finished reading No More Me Nice Guy. It did have some useful insight. I liked awareness better. Have a few more to get into, but I think I'll take a few days off before starting the next one. Just got this text message. I will meet you to discuss whatever you want at any time, but please leave my mom out of this. I haven't involved her. I haven't contacted anyone in your family and I would appreciate it if you'd do the same. You know how your department is. I'm sure anything you are hearing is a product of internal gossip. It's coming from here, friends, not my department. I'm not saying anything about you. 30. I wouldn't do that to your career and believe it would be a poor reflection of character on my behalf. Character. I don't have any animosity toward you, but we're very different and it just didn't work out. Those are the facts and what someone would hear if they asked me what happened. Lie. If you hear otherwise, you can know it was fabricated. There are other things I need to talk to you about, but you haven't been responsive, so I would be more than happy to talk to you about this and everything else whenever you want. This is crazy. Update. There was no response to my text message from yesterday. Not sure I was expecting one either. I have to stop getting so emotional every time I see something from Team Delusional. I need to get to 50,000. Having a hard time getting off the ground. The only proof is text records and phone calls. Not sure that would be enough to prove anything. I am truly looking out for myself. I have already outed to her mother. I am concerned about legally ramifications, however, by exposing to work. Update from today. The mention on her name makes me upset. I keep hearing trickle pieces of trivial information and it sets me back. I haven't been in any sort of contact since the text on Sunday. I see tomorrow pick up another book. Push forward, keep pushing forward. At IC, he doesn't say much. Just listens to me vent, which is what I need right now. I seem to be very angry at the STBX. Angry that she cheated. Angry that she didn't care enough to try and work on this. Angry that she blamed it all on me. Made an appointment for Monday with the lawyer. I honestly don't think I can ever face her again. Writing a letter. As you know, STBX and I's marriage is coming to an end. I have no doubt that you have heard the reason for this marriage ending is all my fault. Where I do take responsibility for my demise in the marriage, codependency issues, etc., I can assure you STBX is not without fault. Attached you will find phone records from when STBX was in a business retreat. Within these records you can see a total of 143 text messages between herself and a number whom I have confirmed to be a co-worker. Many text messages were sent during hours where it is clear business is not a topic of discussion. I have many other phone bills with calls that went on for hours in the middle of the night, along with thousands of text messages for months and months. When I confronted STBX about this number, she told me it was X, which was a clear lie in an attempt to cover up this affair. When we first separated on that Sunday night in April, STBX did visit OM at his house and stayed until 3 a.m. I realize it takes two to break up a marriage. I may have not been there for STBX they where she needed me emotionally, however that does not give her or anyone a right to go outside the marriage. I attempt therapy with STBX where she was not an active participant whatsoever. You will take this information and do what you wish. I have been hearing rumors that I kicked STBX out. I didn't want this to work. It is all my fault. I can assure you I changed everything and anything about me to make this work. The night of 12/12 I begged STBX to try and separate and start over. She immediately responded no and that she wanted a divorce. That is when I asked her to leave. End of letter. Should I wait until after the paperwork has been signed for the separation? I believe in my state I need to be separated legally for a year prior to submitting the divorce. I have had rough couple of days. I reached out to STBX in moment of weakness and got crushed. I feel very alone. She told me she left because I was mean and condescending. Perhaps I was, but I don't see how that gives someone the right to have an EA. I'm sure that's just the excuse she's using, but it really hit me hard. These setbacks are brutal. I am worried I won't meet anyone. I am worried that I can't be in a successful marriage. I am worried I'm going to end up alone forever. The contact I made was an attempt to start our prior to filing. It was a poor attempt I see now and not one that I should be making. I know by her response that she doesn't love me. No one who loves someone would talk like that to them and show zero remorse. My question is, how do I accept this? How do I accept that the same person who showed the most amount of love I have ever seen now seemingly hates me and literally nothing about me changed from the day we met? I care about her because when we first met, she made me feel invisible, like I could take on anything. She was the warmest person I ever met. I have never felt so loved before in my life. She then proceeded to be the coldest person I have ever met. So, during my moment of weakness and after her initial response, I had then asked for an opportunity to meet in person so that I can articulate what I was trying to say better. She had claimed my email wasn't very clear. I received a response late last night, about 30 hours after I sent my email, saying she would be willing to meet this week. Why is it I get this feeling that this may be a very bad idea? However, I also get this feeling that if I don't go, I will never let myself live it down. The emails that have been gone back and forth are as follows. I am so confused. STBX. Over the past month I have done some serious soul searching. I have been going to counseling, reading books about codependency, personality disorders, and numerous self-help books. I am doing things to better myself for me. I realize that the changes I made previously I did for you and they would never stick unless I was all in. This is the reason why I haven't contacted you. I needed time to start to work on me and identify myself without distraction. I do realize why you seek out attention from someone else, to fill a void that I wasn't giving you. Although I am not okay with it, I do understand why it happened. Look, I understand we are different. We have been different for a very long time. There are things we can do to come to a common ground on our differences and find things we can enjoy together, but we both need to be willing to work on it. I am telling you today, I am. Honestly, a month ago I did not know how to do this. Today I am telling you, I have a better understanding of what this entails. I am not suggesting we move back in. I am suggesting that we should at least give this the chance it deserves. We didn't really do that over the past 6 months. We both gave up a lot to be together 6 years ago. I remember the feeling we had for each other back then, when I went to Houston, and the joy I saw in your face the moment we met in the airport. Then the sorrow you had when I left. Those feelings were real. I believe those feelings are still there. Before we go down this road of no return, don't you feel that we owe it to ourselves to try and give this a real effort? I have an appointment with the lawyer on Monday. Before I go through with this, I want to suggest the following. I suggest we give this 3 months. You continue to live by yourself as well as me. We start therapy and go as often as needed. We will both research to find a therapist we feel comfortable with. If we have to go to a few before we find someone we are comfortable with, so be it. During this time, we will cut off contact to anyone who is bad for the marriage. This includes any outside influence who isn't positively supporting us. We truly invest all of our energy to see if this is worth saving. I believe it absolutely is. If after this time we don't see progress, we walk away with no regrets knowing it just wasn't meant to be. If we do see progress, then we extend for another period of time. We can discuss it at that time. Also, we talk to each other as we feel comfortable. See each other as we feel comfortable. Ease back into this part. Try and start to re-establish mutual respect and trust. Take this slowly. If you feel that there are other concessions I am leaving out, please suggest them. If you would rather talk about this face to face, we can do that as well. This past month has been very eye-opening for me. I lost someone who is very important to me, someone who I haven't given what she deserved. Although I didn't see that until I started looking into me. I am still the same guy who would do anything to protect you from pain. Now, I feel like I am the guy who will do anything to be your partner, not your husband in the archaic sense of the word. You haven't filed yet. There has to be a reason for this. We have a tough road ahead. I know it is easier to run away than to fight. It is not in me to run. I am a fighter, but I cannot do this alone. I need your help. Fight with me. Fight for us. Fight for the happiness we are so very close to. I can see it. I can see past this speed bump. Are you willing to see it also? I love you. I have since the day we met. She then responded with this. Opus. It wasn't easy to respond to this email, which seems to be riddled in double entendre. I am sure you can imagine that after your text last week I was very surprised to read this. I am not sure if this email was intended to woo me back, but it came across as yet another ultimatum, laden with yet more of your false accusations that I have been succumbing to since you first decided I did not respond to my text messages quickly enough. You have to understand that I was tired of being sad. I was tired of being with someone who was mean and condescending. I tried to tell you I deserved to be treated better, but you told me my standards were too high. I'm sorry, but I don't think so. I know I deserve better, even if that means being alone. I left you for myself, and no one else. The quicker you realize that, the quicker you will find peace. I'm glad you are seeking help for yourself and wish you nothing but happiness in life. STBX. My response. STBX. I'm sorry you took my email as an ultimatum. I was concerned sending this communication through email and had drafted and redrafted it for days. It wasn't my intention at all for this to come across as an ultimatum. You had mentioned you would be willing to see me and talk to me about anything. Perhaps I can better articulate this in person. I am coming to you at this time with an open mind and heart, no other way. Would you be willing to meet me? Her response, sure, that offer still stands and always will. I have a conference this week but can meet you for coffee on Wednesday or Thursday after work. Guys, why I am all over the place. I went with this one letter instead. Smart move, right? I'm so messed up in my head right now I am only thinking on emotion. My heart is just ripping my brain out of my skull and trying to destroy it. I keep doubting myself about the other man that maybe it wasn't what I thought. Assuming it wasn't doing that path still remain that same. I met with my pastor yesterday, the one who married us, and he was word for word saying what you guys are. I think that snapped me back into reality. Hearing it from him is a real eye-opener. I have made an appointment with my lawyer for next week and it's time to push this through. I am going to NC in 180 again. I was doing so good up until last week. I can feel a little tingling down there. I think they may be growing back. Next few days aren't going to be easy. Supposed to meet her after a month of not seeing her once and instead I'm going to NC. On a side note, it appears she has stopped paying for bills that we agreed she would pay prior to her leaving. Should I, cover these bills, note them for the lawyer and go after her for them? They are bills that will directly affect me. Also, one of them is the car insurance which she agreed to pay and in doing so I allowed her to keep the car even though it's in my name. I can therefore pay that bill and go get the car. B. Contact her, which I'm thinking no way and inquire to why they haven't been paid. She was supposed to pay the insurance, it's for both of our cars, and the utilities for the apartment. She is paying all of her other bills as far as I'm aware. I really don't care to be honest. I agreed to pay for the whole rent, which was how we were doing this when we were together, and my credit cards etc. I don't have a key to the car but if she doesn't pay that insurance, overdue now but they give you 2 weeks grace, I will switch the carrier, pay the bill, get a key made and jack that car SAP. It's in my name anyway. We had this discussion and confirmed it in writing 2 days after the separation. For some reason I was prepared to continue to pay all the rent as if we were married, trying to keep the window open until the divorce was final. If that, time to be held accountable for something once in her life. I feel like I am making progress. When the setbacks come, I have to take step back and not act on them. That is what stopped progress and sets me back to square one. Update, I got invited to a party in a few weeks involving a few people from work and my mother and father-in-law will be there. Should be an interesting dynamic. Trying to decide if I should bring a date to this or not. Let me clarify. STBX will not be there. It was the MIL that was supposed to be there. I will have multiple people from work there and can easily avoid him. Not sure if this changes anything. I still think I should wait to make this decision till much closer to the time. Today's update. Had a great night last night. Been talking to a girl from a dating site. She seems really nice. We have a lot in common. A welcome change from STBX. We are going out Sat night for dinner. Very much looking forward to it. Getting ready to go out with the boys. Hoping for a good night but feeling sad. Trying to understand why this is triggering me. Trying to get to 50,000 and understand why. No doubt I have to work, but I haven't contacted since Tuesday. And before the slip-up last Friday I went 4 weeks. I am working on the 180 for sure. Still need to join the gym though. Triggers are definitely an issue and would love to get these under control. Lawyer is on Wednesday and everything gets pushed forward then. Going to reread Codependency book this weekend. Believe me, I want nothing more than to get through this. I do not want to R mainly because I'm realizing now I can never trust her. I never really did to begin with. I honestly don't ever want to talk to her again. I see no benefit to this at all. All it will do at this point is cause me pain. Date last night. Went really well. She is a very sweet girl. I will definitely see her again. We went to dinner at a restaurant near us. Funny I had been there once before. With the STBX, didn't bother me in the least. Good food, great conversation. Afterwards we went for coffee and sat for another hour and chatted. Was very easy and refreshing. Woke up this morning, feeling pretty good. Got a text message yesterday morning from STBX and didn't want to look at it and get aggravated. I had my buddy look and tell me if it needed responding. He said no, so I told him to delete it. No response coming from this guy. Had another date last night with a different girl. Was supposed to be a quick drink, ended up being 4 hours. My eyes are starting to open to this world. They have been closed for so long. The old me would lock into this girl. We had a really great time. I realize this and will not allow this to happen. 50,000. Been a great couple of days. Been talking to, let's call her CF, from Sunday night. Great talks. We really have a lot in common. Got plans for the weekend with her, very much looking forward to it. Trying my hardest to not get sucked into the old ways. I am still chatting with a few others. As for the STBX, honestly haven't given her much thought if any at all. Mainly because of these distractions, which I guess is good and bad. I had started to trigger over something last night but immediately caught myself and recognized the feeling and squashed it. Nothing can stop me now. I can't wait to get this done. The world is expanding to me by the minute. Just got an email from her. I know you have reverted back to not responding to me, and for what reason I do not know. While I am sure you don't care and you may get some odd sense of satisfaction hearing this, you've left me in quite a tight spot financially. I had to pay off your V-bill yesterday, which was over $700 for early termination fees and your phone payment plan. I literally had no choice or they would have turned off my phone. In terms of last week and canceling, I don't understand how anything could be more important than having a conversation that could potentially save your marriage, unless it just wasn't that important to you to begin with. I really wish you had done the right thing in both of these situations, regardless of how mad you may be. Maybe it's all part of your game or your struggle at a power play, but at this point I don't really know anymore. This is where the important information comes in, which requires action on your behalf. I will be dropping your car from the car insurance policy because I cannot afford to pay it anymore. You know what I bring home, so I'm sure you can do the math and understand. I'll wait until Friday to remove it so you have some time to find a new policy. I priced one out on Progressive for you and they said it would be $125 per month, in case you're interested. Look, I really do think this could have been a lot easier if you had opted to just talk to me. I understand it feels easier to be non-confrontational and ignore me, but I've learned in the long run all that does is cause really deep problems that can never be solved. End of email. STBX. 1. She makes plenty and can certainly afford it. She's been paying these bills for months without any problem before now. 2. Looks like a feeble attempt to reach out, which I will not fall for. My comment, part 2 ending coming this afternoon. Let me fix my keyboard really quick. I literally broke it making this video just now. So, if you subscribe and like, I really appreciate, and I will see you in the ending.